We are here with legendary wide receiver Herman Moore, the great one himself. And I tell you what, Herm, it's been a great week. The Lions destroyed the Jacksonville Jaguars. You watching this game, what was your initial thoughts watching the beatdown Detroit gave Jacksonville?
Well, first, I want to say congratulations to this team because they did what I thought uh, was in them, but I didn't know how quickly they could get there or if they would get there. And I'll be very honest. I mean, things start to look a little bleak after you look at that first stretch of the season. They've been on a tear the last 5 games, and it seemed like it all culminated and came together against the Jaguars. And the fact that they played such a clean football game and the coaching I thought was on point. I thought they had an answer defensively for the offensive attack. I thought they had an answer offensively for the Jaguars defensive attack. And because of that, we weren't waiting for halftime adjustments. They were making them real time. It wasn't saying what was going to happen at halftime. They jumped out on such a big lead and then they continued to put on the pressure. That's what you want to see with this team. The coaching side of it, yeah, there's going to be cleanup not only from the coaches but from the players and all together. But the confidence that is going to be driven from this, and a lot of people will say, well, listen, this was 2 4-7 teams, but they showed that they are better than a 4-7 team. And they showed that if they're facing teams that are truly probably not at the same level, because I don't think offensively, when you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, they didn't have the depth that we saw offensively in the run game, in the passing game, and even at the quarterback position and the line. I mean, that was just a much better offensive unit that went out and played a very, very good game. So kudos to them. I thought this was definitely their best game of the season. Now see if it carries over, and not just one game, but can they have that momentum and that type of consistent play going from here through the rest of the season?
One momentum that we definitely need is to subscribe to this channel. The more subscribers we get, the more chance to LNU. Hey, it pops out there. Get that momentum flowing, folks, for this channel. Subscribe for the latest Lions news and rumors. That's what it's all about here, folks. You talked about this fundamentally sound football. I thought it was amazing that the Lions only had one flag, and the flag was kind of iffy. And if you look at the past couple of weeks, they're really just been sound and doing the right calls, not doing false starts, not doing holdings. They have been playing really sound football. To me, that's a testament to the leadership. What do you think is going on there with players really not screwing up during the game?
It's a combination. Players are having to hold themselves accountable. I think they're starting to mature. It's one game. All right, I'm not going to erase the other games or the other plays that they've had. It's how do you take this and you continue to show over a stretch of time. Yes, they were 4-1 in the last 5 games, but when you look at clean football, when you look at disciplined football, when you look at play calling and consistency and trust that was there, you look at just Jared Goff having probably and arguably his best game of the season. How do you get that into a stretch of consistency? Then I go, this team has turned a corner. Otherwise, it's one of those games where you played a very good football game and you played it against an opponent that allowed you some opportunity, but you also played above another team that was considered similar in record. But talent-wise, you're showing that you're on a different trajectory than the Jacksonville Jaguars. I will then say, and I'm going to hold my thoughts on, okay, what about that and what my thoughts are long term until you put that together. I think that is a fair piece. It is not a knock on, coaching. It's not a knock on the players. It's not a knock on anything. It's a challenge. And if I'm a coach, if I'm Coach Campbell, I'm challenging my team to say, listen, we know that we're capable of doing that. Now let's go out and let's show that whether it's a team that is similar caliber, whether it's a team that is expected to be better than us, or whatever the case may be, we can go out and have these type of football games, which gives us the ability as a team to be competitive and also show that we've turned the corner.
You talked about how Jared Goff played a really sound game, and he did. And one of the reasons that is that offensive line was absolutely dominating. They gave Jared Goff all the time in the world to make his reads and just go ahead and pick apart the defense. This is something that at least I personally have wanted for the Detroit Lions, is to be a physical football team. That offensive line really showed a lot of physicality, opened up the holes for your guy, DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams. Is this kind of a changing of the guard you're seeing here with the Lions of being more of a finesse team of years past, maybe with the era of Matthew Stafford, to now more of that, punch you in the mouth, strong football team?
It's a football team that defensively is going to continue to get better. I think they are really being challenged. And I keep using that word challenge because a lot of us have mentioned and talked about the defensive line. I'm going to start there only for a reason. There was confidence that needed to be, I guess, put together there. There was some plays that need to be made. We felt that was a soft area on the interior side. They had some pass rushing opportunities on the outside that, with Hutchinson, that he was going to need to kind of step up, which he has, even as a rookie. The linebackers have to play better and faster. We're seeing that. And then the secondary, how do they come together? They've had some injuries. They've had some players who were in and out. And then Aaron Glenn, how does he keep it all together when they're actually calling for him potentially to have a change made in the defensive coordinator position? They've weathered some of the toughest storms that they're going to face. And yet, look at the energy and the enthusiasm and the growth that has taken place defensively in the last few games. I will say I've seen a big lift there. So there's some confidence and there's some leadership that's taking place on that side. You go to the offensive side and you look at how Jared Goff is being received and how he's now being looked at. And I told you this earlier. Who is the leader offensively? It's not about Jamal Williams is scoring. He's a touchdown machine this year. But it's who is the offensive leader. Now, when you look at the receiving unit, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown. You look at the passing attack, and you look at really the interior lineman over to the quarterback, because that's kind of a unit that plays together. It's Jared Goff. They believe in him. They want to protect their quarterback. They want to give him time because they know that this guy, if he has time, he can make plays. The receivers can get open. And then you have the running game, which they go, you know what? We're probably one of the best, most dangerous three-headed monster running game. It was two guys. Now it's coming three guys in the NFL. They're beaming with confidence offensively. Put all that together, they have respect for the OC. The OC has confidence and respect and trust in his quarterback. The coach, Campbell, starts to have confidence in both sides. The less you will probably see him trying to be really deep into a lot of the calling and let them do what they do and be a part of that strategy. You see this team starting to kind of turn a little bit and come to corner. When I look at what has happened in the last 4 to 5 games, I'm looking at those things and saying that's where I can measure. And I can say this team has definitely gotten better.
They definitely have improved. I do believe that they fully are invested in what Dan Campbell is preaching now. The rookies, it's just amazing to see these young players stand out. You got James Houston. He's only had 15 snaps. 6th-round draft pick. He comes in here on 15 snaps in the past 2 games, 3 sacks. Kirby Joseph, multiple interceptions, doing really good at safety position. Aiden Hutchinson. The development of these rookies is, to me, astounding. What do you think is going on with these young players and their development under Dan Campbell?
Well, because they are in the starting position, there's nowhere to look back to. Because typically you look at your veteran guys to go back and say, you know what, that rookie's on my tail and I got to keep playing at a different level, or I'm going to be in a mentoring position or some type of a leader and type of, that type of a position. These are the guys that are going to have to lead. They're leading without looking back and thinking, okay, well, who am I trying to bring along with me? It's one another. And the fact that they're young, they're impressionable. They can also still be trained. There are not these big habits that have to be broken. So they're going to be growing up in a system that they're going to know that they can trust because they're having early success. When they can have early success, they believe and they build a bond with that coach. It probably reminds them of their collegiate days, I'll say. And when they had that type of rapport, that type of time. But the difference is instead of going off and having some schoolwork and then having some time, at the athletic facility, this is their full-time job. I expect to see that accelerate. And I expect to see them going into the offseason, if they can keep playing at the level they're playing right now, to where they're going to continuously try and get better. They're going to start to bond, work together on the offseason, and they're going to keep in communication with this team and with the coaches and try and say, how do we continue to get ahead of it, and it gives them something to shoot for next year.
Legitimately, we have a giant game on Sunday, maybe one of the biggest games that I can remember as a Detroit Lions fan. NFC North showdown, Minnesota Vikings coming to Detroit. Week 3, we lost to them just by a couple points. If the Lions win this game, we are definitely still in the playoff hunt. What do you think is going to take place on Sunday? Do you give the Lions a chance to get victory here? If so, what do they need to do to pull off a win against the Minnesota Vikings?
Well, I think it's going to be tough for them against a team that's looking for a different type of playoff spot, right? Minnesota's they're in the driver's seat when it comes to the NFC North. They're in the driver's seat when it comes to really their ability to have great positioning in the NFC conference for the playoffs. So when you look at what they have on the line, they're going to be playing every game between now and the end of the season because of where Philadelphia sits, and trying to make sure they continue to push forward. That spells trouble for a team like the Lions, but it gives them great measure because they're going to be playing an opponent that is, one, not looking to take a snap off. They're not going to come in and say, okay, we're going to play up or down based on an opponent. They're playing for something. The Lions are playing for something right now, and that's continued to build their pride. It's continued to build their reputation of saying we are a young team, but we're getting better each week. So this is I think for both teams, this is a very, very important game. I think it's a great measuring stick for Detroit Lions to see exactly where is this team when they're competing against a Minnesota Viking team that is going to be at a different level than where they were before when the Lions faced them, because there's more to play for. And right now, I just think Minnesota's playing some of their best football. They're playing exciting football. They're playing together. There seems to be a locker room that is loving what they're doing, and I don't think they're looking for the Lions to play sport. I really don't. And so Detroit, it's a good chance for them to go out and do some special things. And tickets are getting hot too. I will say this: the NFC North, I've never seen it look this ugly when you get after the first place team in terms of those that are looking for opportunities to be in the playoffs with such a crazy record. Typically, I look at the NFC West, and it's been kind of nasty like that in some years. But, man, this has been a year to say the Lions are sitting in second place. They're still a couple games back from playoff opportunity. Hey, who knows? Who knows what can happen?
All you got to do is win. Now, a lot of fans love to talk about draft and like, man, we don't need to win in these last 5 games. We need to focus on the draft. As a player, can you tell the importance of winning, even if you weren't to make a playoffs? You just want to finish off strong.
You don't want to give back anything. You don't go out, as much as fans think that there's ever going to be where a coach or an organization starts to play and secure positions in the draft and throw away seasons. They don't do that. That is demoralizing. It is something that you will never be able to get a true professional player to do or to buy into. They will lose the respect for the organization and any coach that would ask them to ever go out and play less than their best. So we can put that to a side. That's not going to happen. The Lions will end up with their draft position based on how they play and whether or not they have it in them to be able to beat the opponents that are placed in front of them. It has nothing to do with the draft. I will say this. We look at Brad Holmes. We look at what they have done in terms of trying to position themselves for the future and getting into the second season. We start to look at how valuable having 5 draft picks will be. It adds an ability for this team to really step up, given the playing that they're seeing right now from the younger players, to add to that and seeing that really this is a coaching staff and an assembly of talented people upstairs that seem to be able to accelerate how well the young players play and how to bring them along and develop a lot faster. So I'm excited in everything that's happening right now. And it's not because they've been on a little streak here for the last 4 or 5 games, but just because you see kind of the plan coming together. You really do.
The development is just amazing to me. Watching these young players is something that I haven't seen in recent memory. And we're talking about all draft picks in all rounds. We're not just talking about a first-round pick. We're talking about 6th-round pick, 5th-round pick. Lastly, surely not least, tell the folks why they need to smash that like button.
They need to continue to smash that like button because that's the only way you can keep me sitting here. Otherwise, you're going to have me out there trying to go knock on the Lions' door, and I'm trying to get out there and run routes. You don't want me to go out there and try and replace Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's doing a fantastic job. They don't need a broken down veteran receiver like me. So keep me here in the studio delivering the great messages. Here with Mike from Mike, we're here giving you our insight, our opinion. But you got to hit that button. You got to hit the like button. You got to hit the subscribe. You got to keep me here. Please keep me here. Plus, I enjoy being here in front of all of you. So come on, help a brother out.
Hey, we'd love to have you out there at least one time. Amon-Ra first down is doing it good for us, but we'd love to see you out there one time.
Yeah, no, he's doing a fantastic job, making me proud as a receiver, and then also kudos to all the receivers stepping up and doing their thing. I'm very, very happy and excited for this young group, and they're very exciting to watch.
That's absolutely. I appreciate everybody hanging out, and have a good one.